Hello everyone, I'm Hamrayeva Sharifa, a teacher of Bukhara State University. Today again we talk with you American literature, the next period. It is American Romanticism. So, do you know what's Romanticism? And how was Romanticism in America? As you know, in the previous lessons we have discussed with you English Romanticism. Now you can know about the American Romanticism and you can differentiate the difference between American and British Romanticism. So I would like to start our lesson with the quote of Ralph Waldo Emerson, as he is one of the representative of American Romanticism. We will walk with our own fate. We will work with our own hands and will speak our own minds. And somehow in this quote we can see some of the reflection of the Romantic period in America. So, what's Romanticism? Romanticism is the name for literary periods that followed the Age of Reason, the Revolutionary period in America. It's like Enlightenment period, due to the fact that the country was now established. Writers moved their focus away from political matters and revolutionary governmental ideas and focused on other aspects of life like emotions, possibilities, and imagination. As you know, in the American Enlightenment, most of the authors' concern was independence, their freedom. That's why most of their works were based on political, economical issues, rather than the real features that describe it, emotion, imagination, and feelings. So, what are the characteristics of American Romanticism? Here are given several characteristic features of American Romanticism. The first one values feeling and intuition over the reason. Why? And at that time people were really tired of the real thing because of the Enlightenment, the Age of Reason, and they want to reject this reality. And that's why they started to value the feeling and intuition over the reason. And the next is places faith in inner experience and the power of imagination. And they try to use their imagination in order to have better life. And it chants the artificiality of civilization and seeks unspoiled nature. Because of the revolution, as you know, there were wars and everything was like gray, dark, and like artificial, and that's why people just miss it to be surrounded with the nature. That's why they try to seek unspoiled nature. And they prefer useful innocence to educate sophistication, and champions individuals' freedom and the worth of individualism. As for the Enlightenment period, it was just the society just that matters. But in this period, in Romantic period, they try to value each person and contemplate nature's beauty as a path to spiritual and moral development. And it looks backward to the wisdom of the past and distrusts progress. It means that they also try to get some good experience from the past and try to use it to develop their country. and they find beauty, truth in exotic locales and supernatural realms and the inner world of imagination. As a sample of American romantic art, note the wild landscape, no hint of civilization and ominous clouds. Now you can see in this picture the vivid description of the romanticism and the dream of romantic period. So, what kind of literary works were produced during this romantic period? The first one is short stories, novels, poetry, and essay. They mostly paid attention to the short stories and the poetry. So, what are the elements of romanticism? The first element is frontier, vast expanse, freedom, no graphic limitation. The next one is optimism, greater than in Europe because of the presence of frontier, because of the revolution, and experimentation in science and institutions, and mingling of race. Immigrants in large numbers arrived to the US after they got their independence, and growth of industrialization. Polarization of North and South. North becomes industrialized, South remains agriculture. So, what's the subject matter of romanticism? The quest for beauty doesn't tell people how to live their lives. So, they want to live as they want, and there was not any limit for them. And there was not any requirement, and they just pursued their dreams. And the next one, escapism. Escapism from American problems, the use of far away and non-normal. As escapism, as we mentioned it above, we told that they were really tired of wars, revolutions, such kind of destructive things, and they tried to escape from these things, and they tried to be surrounded with nature, and the interest in external nature for itself, for beauty, as nature as a source of knowledge of the primitive, and nature as a refuge, and nature as a revelation of the God to the individual. So, who are the representatives of American Romanticism? William Cullen Bryant, Henry Wordsworth Longfellow, Dark Romanticist Nathaniel Hawthorne, Herman Melville, Edgar Allan Poe. So in this picture, the romantic view of man focuses on the individuals, his inner world and imagination and emotion. As you see, there is no just exact idea of individualism. They just flow and fly with their imagination. And here is another example of the nature as a beautiful, mysterious, and some symbolic one, and God can be seen in nature. As in the English Romanticism, they have their mottos: close to nature, from nature to God, and they also somehow followed this kind of idea, and they trusted that if they are surrounded with nature, they will be close to God. The next one, it is guide to truth. It's intuition, the inner voice. And imagination guides each individual to understanding. Dark Romanticism or Gothic Romanticism, as it's the period that appeared in the later part of the Romanticism. Edgar Allan Poe, with Hawthorne, Melville, known as an anti-transcendentalist. or dark romantics. They had much in common with transcendentalists, and they explored conflicts between good and evil, psychological effects of guilt and sin and madness in form of symbolism, some mysterious thing. So here are the pictures of these great representatives of dark romanticism: Nathaniel Hawthorne, Edgar Allan Poe, and Herman Melville. So transcendentalism, it's one of the movements of American Romanticism, an important American literary and philosophical movement, so not a religion. It started from 1830s to 1860s. So transcend. Firstly, before just explaining transcendentalism, let's explore the word itself. It means to go beyond a limit or range, for example, of thought or belief. So transcendentalism at its core is about moving beyond common experience and understanding. Transcendentalism, it's the idea that in determining the ultimate reality of God, the universe, the self, and other important matters, one must transcend or go beyond everyday human experience in the physical world. Also based on romantic ideas, and it's also based on intuition and optimism. So, what's the premise of the transcendentalism? There is a direct connection between the universe and the individual soul. By thinking about objects in nature, people can transcend the world and discover a union with our soul. And they follow their intuition and beliefs, no matter how much they differ from the social norms. It means that the most greater importance just paid to the individualism. All people are inherently good. So, who were a few transcendentalists? Ralph Waldo Emerson, a former Unitarian minister from Massachusetts, who became the most well-known transcendentalist, and Henry David Thoreau and his pupil, apprentice, the son of pencil maker who dropped out the society to live a solitary and transcendent life. Here you can see the picture of them. Why did the transcendentalism become popular in America? As with Romanticism, Americans felt that there must be more to life than logical, rational, and experience. Thus, the transcendentalists sought to regain the spirituality that they thought was missing from the current thoughts and philosophy. And here are some questions about transcendentalism in order to share your opinions with your partners. For example, how are you affected by the nature? Do you find comfort in it? Do you reflect the moods of the nature? By answering these questions, you somehow feel that you live in the American Romanticism and you can feel their sense. And what's the role of the nature in your life, and what's meant by an individual's spiritual side? Or do you think independently of others, or do you follow the crowd? So, it's the first part of the Transcendentalism and American Romanticism. I hope that you got very useful information from this video lesson. And follow us YouTube channel, and you can see other themes of the American literature. Goodbye.